miss my kids. I want to be there as much as I possibly can.
August 7th, 2025, Brandon Blackstock, Kelly Clarkson's ex-husband, died. But behind the headlines were three shocking truths. A deadly illness kept hidden for years, a sudden disappearance from Kelly that no one could explain, and a final twist. Brandon's last months spent with someone who once worked inside Kelly's own home. Brandon Blackstock wasn't just a guy in country music. He was industry blood, a country royalty blood. His father, Narvel Blackstock, was a prominent music manager who represented artists like Reba McEntire, who also happened to be his stepmother for over 2 decades. Brandon grew up surrounded by the rhythms of tour buses, backstage passes, and the business of making stars shine. He met Kelly Clarkson in 2006, briefly crossing paths backstage at the ACMs through mutual music industry ties. But it wasn't until 2012 that their worlds truly collided. They fell in love fast. In October 2013, they married in Tennessee. Publicly, it was a fairy tale. 2 children, River and Remington, a shared life, a powerhouse couple. He even managed her career and supported her role on The Voice. But something began to shift. Love and business overlapped. He was not just her husband, but her manager, and the lines blurred. Love and business tangled. In 2020, Kelly filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Financial and custody battles ensued, all played out in headlines and through legal filings. By 2022, the divorce was final. Kelly kept her career, the kids, and her life. Brandon retreated to Montana. Specifically, the ranch featured heavily in their dispute. To the public, their chapter seemed closed. But nothing was ever truly over. After the dust settled, Brandon vanished from the spotlight. No red carpets, no public statements. But that silence wasn't just about privacy. Beneath it, he was fighting something none of us saw coming. What he managed to hide and why he chose Montana to vanish changes everything. They say desperation loves company, but Brandon's battle with melanoma was a silent battle. For 3 years, nobody outside his inner circle knew. He didn't post about the struggle. Kelly didn't mention it through the divorce or in interviews, not once. No photos, no updates, no interviews acknowledging his health decline. Kelly never mentioned it during the divorce, parenting discussions, or interviews, not even once. Why the silence? Was it privacy? Pride? Or could it have affected legal or personal dynamics if revealed? By 2024, he was rarely seen around the property. Townfolk said they spotted a thinner, quieter man. Yet no diagnosis was shared. Then in early August, Kelly canceled the rest of her Las Vegas residency to be with their kids, citing that Brandon had been ill. Just 1 day before his death, the world finally saw the first public acknowledgement. Then came August 7th, 2025. Brandon Blackstock died at 48. Cause of death? Malignant melanoma with seizures listed as a contributing factor, but no autopsy was conducted. Natural causes listed plainly, a fact that only deepened the mystery. The silence around his health was odd, but what followed next is what truly shocked everyone. In the weeks before his death, Brandon's life involved long stretches of isolation on the Montana ranch, a place people thought he chose for healing, but which also offered perfect cover. Neighbors saw him rarely. When he appeared in town, he looked guarded and distant, haunted even. But there was someone else around, someone unexpected. Local whispers said a familiar face from his past had been visiting. Not a Montana local, someone from his previous life. Meanwhile, across the country, Kelly's career buzzed with momentum. Yet when Brandon's name came up in interviews, Kelly's expression shifted. Answers became clipped. Once, she paused when asked about him, then quickly moved on. Friends noticed his health decline in the summer of 2025. He had become unusually reclusive, quietly preparing his affairs. Then, on August 7th, he was found unresponsive. Life slipped away in the ranch he once fought fiercely to keep. And something else happened just 48 hours earlier. A courier arrived with a thick envelope. No company logo, no recipient was announced. It disappeared into the ranch as quietly as it came. What was inside that envelope and who was it for? That courier was in a black SUV. No security detail, only mystery. Speculation ran wild. Was it a will, a confession, a final goodbye? When the will was read, the ranch didn't go to his children. nor to Kelly. It was placed in a trust managed by someone outside the family. Why exclude his own kids from the property they once called home? Kelly did not comment publicly, but insiders say her legal team was in contact with Brandon's estate team, possibly to verify child support or see if her name appeared in legal documents. Then a leak circulated. The will included a sealed letter addressed to Kelly Clarkson. No one knew what it contained. Shortly afterwards, a private security detail showed up outside Kelly's home. Protection or pressure? The silence didn't help. If the letter exists, what could be inside? An apology? A plot twist? Or something that would change an entire legacy? And so, we circle back to the main questions. Why hide his illness for so long? Was it personal pride, legal pressure, or emotional distance? What came in that envelope? A revised will? A confession? Or something nobody expected? Why the trust? Why exclude his kids? Was it protection, preemptive legal planning, or something more? If the supposed letter addressed to Kelly is real, what could it hold? Closure? Confession? A bargaining key? Kelly's public silence has fueled speculation. Was she meeting legal reps? Was she reading that letter? Or simply protecting her children? Those questions keep echoing because the facts line up, but the story doesn't feel complete. We know the illness, we know the estate, we know the envelope, but not the truth behind them. Because some secrets don't die with the person. Some lie in files, envelopes, or moments between two heartbeats. August 7th, 2025. A typical Montana morning, until it wasn't. A ranch hand found the door unlocked and coffee cold on the counter. No signs of struggle, no notes. Brandon was gone. Cause? Natural, we were told. Yet phone logs revealed a last call just hours before to a small estate law firm in Montana, lasting exactly 14 minutes. Was he finalizing arrangements, sending that envelope, or simply seeking peace? 2 weeks later, another envelope appeared, this time delivered to Kelly's team in Los Angeles. It bore Brandon's handwriting. What was inside remains unknown. He leaves behind 4 children. For them, it's not a mystery. It's a heartbreak. But for the wider world, this story doesn't close, it lingers. Brandon Blackstock's death was sudden, steeped in sorrow, but anchored in silence. A hidden illness, a mysterious envelope, a ranch placed in trust, a sealed letter, Kelly's silence, and a final call to an unknown law firm. This isn't just a tragedy, it's a slowly unraveling mystery. So here's the question you'll carry forward. What if the story you thought you knew is just the surface, and the real truth lies hidden in that envelope, in that phone call, in the decisions that followed? In the end, all we're left with are fragments, dates, documents, whispers, and a silence that speaks louder than words. Brandon Blackstock's life ended in the quiet of a Montana morning, but the questions left behind feel deafening. A hidden illness that never reached the public eye, a mysterious envelope that arrived just before the end, a will that bypassed his own children, and a sealed letter to Kelly Clarkson that the world may never read. Was it closure, a confession, or a truth too dangerous to be spoken aloud? Until someone opens that letter or breaks their silence, this story remains unfinished. And maybe that's exactly how it was meant to be. Because some answers don't live in headlines or court filings. They live in the quiet spaces between what we know and what we can't prove. So tell me, do you think the world will ever know what was really inside that envelope? If you enjoyed diving into this mystery, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss the next story that the headlines don't want you to hear.